Hello and welcome to part 2 of our webinar, Are You Ready to Start a Business? Which is brought to you by the Raleigh chapter of SCORE. My name is Dennis Weldon and I am a small business mentor with the Raleigh chapter. Let's take a look at the topics that we'll cover in part 2. First, we'll cover legal entities, insurance, permits, and licenses. Then we will discuss management and organization. Now, for management and organization, we're only going to touch on that briefly. Most of our clients are just starting or getting ready to start a business, and so we try to address their needs in this workshop. But if you have a business already in operation, my suggestion is to set up a mentoring session with one of our mentors, and we will get into the details of the management and organization issues that you're faced with. So let's continue. First, we're going to talk about the options for structuring your business. These options affect your liability, ownership, and taxes. Now keep in mind, liability is a big issue, and you are protected from personal liability if you have a limited liability company, otherwise known as an LLC, or if you are a corporation, which can be either an S or a C corporation, or you are a nonprofit that has been set up as a corporation. But if you have a sole proprietorship or a general partnership, you are not protected from personal liability. And let's see what the details of that on the next page. On the upper left of the page here, you see your personal assets, your house, your car, your savings account. And on the upper right, your company's assets, the inventory, business savings, car, truck, building, or whatever. If you are an LLC or corporation, there's something legally that separates your personal assets from your company assets, and it's called the corporate veil. Therefore, if a lawsuit is brought against you and your company, the lawyers working for the people that are trying to bring the lawsuit against you will try to take your company assets, and they may be able to do that if they win the case, but they will not be able to take your personal assets because the corporate veil separates the two. However, if you are a sole proprietorship or a partnership, there is no corporate veil, and if you lose the lawsuit, you can lose both your company assets and your personal assets. Now, we've spoken to attorneys about this, and one attorney in particular said when somebody starts a small business, the default should be to set up an LLC. And if you decide later you want to switch and make it a corporation, that's perfectly possible. So let's go on to the next page. We'll talk about how to set up your LLC. To legitimize your business, you need to go to the Secretary of State's website that's shown there at the top. And that website will take you through 3 steps. First, you choose a business structure, which is either LLC, corporation, or nonprofit. Then you need to name your business. The name must be unique in the state of North Carolina. So if you go to the Secretary of State's website, you'll find a page that has a little search window on it. You can put in the name that you'd like to have for your business. That's the legal business entity name. And you can search for it and see if that name is being used elsewhere in North Carolina. And then you can register your business online. For an LLC, the fee is $125 for the first year and $200 for every year thereafter. Now, if you go to the link below at the bottom of the page, you will see the online registration page for the Secretary of State. Now, if you don't feel comfortable making the choice of a business entity, you can get assistance from an attorney. We have on our website, if you go to raleigh.score.org, browse the library, we have a Raleigh SCORE Services directory. And that has not only attorneys, but also insurance brokers, CPAs, web designers, and lots of others. And you can choose someone from that list if you don't have an attorney or CPA or whatever. The people that are on the list do not pay to get on the list. They are people that we know either through our dealings with them, some of them teach our workshops, or they have good reviews from some of our clients. Then also don't forget, if you're still not comfortable about determining which business entity you should have, you can use online resources like LegalZoom. Now you may need to obtain an EIN, otherwise known as an Employer Identification Number, which is a federal tax ID number for a business. It's just like your Social Security number, only it's for a business. You can go to the IRS website and go to apply for an employer ID number. It's fairly easy. Now the next thing we want to talk about is a DBA. So let's talk about a hypothetical LLC company called Joe's LLC. Now Joe set up this LLC, and that's more or less the umbrella for some other or some businesses he wants to set up, and one of them is a pizzeria, Joe's Pizzeria. So he wants his business entity name to be different from the business's commercial name. He doesn't want to have on the outside of the building Joe's LLC. He wants to call it Joe's Pizzeria. So he has what is referred to as a DBA, or a doing business as. He's doing business as Joe's Pizzeria. A DBA, regardless of what business structure you have, must be filed with the County Register of Deeds. This is called an assumed name filing, and it is a one-time event with a small fee. I think it's around $25. The name does not have to be unique, even though your LLC name does have to be unique. And if Joe decides to open up another business, let's say Joe's Deli, he can also put that deli under the umbrella of Joe's LLC, and that would be fine. But if Joe also decides to expand into a business, let's say like landscaping, then in that case, that business is so different than the LLC that he's already set up, he would probably want to set up a second LLC. Keep in mind, if you get sued in one of the businesses, then you can lose your assets for all the businesses under the particular LLC. So in some cases, it could be better to set up an LLC for each individual business. One note for anybody that is already in business and may have filed a DBA before December 1st, 2017, you must re-register before December of this year, because the state has changed some of the procedures and rules, and you have to go back in there and do it again. Regardless of the type of business entity you choose, if you will collect employee withholding or sales taxes, you'll need to apply for a state tax ID number at the North Carolina Department of Revenue. Now, business insurance is very important even if you have an LLC or a corporation. You need other protection, and there are a number of types here that are listed. They don't all apply to your business necessarily, but there are a few that are very important. First of all, professional liability is important. It covers you against negligence claims due to harm resulting from mistakes you might make or a failure to perform. Product liability is important too. I have several clients who they sell pastries, and they need protection for product liability. For example, if they sell a brownie and the brownie has a piece of tin foil in it, a person might sue them for that. So they need product liability insurance. Some people that we have as clients also have home-based businesses, like one of the pastry clients that I have. And your homeowner's insurance may not give you the full coverage that you need for a home-based business. So you should always talk to an insurance broker or your insurance agent about what home-based insurance that you need to make sure you have full coverage. There's an example that we heard from an insurance broker several years ago about a person who had a home-based business, and he had a garage that was separate from his house. He had a lot of his products and other inventory and supplies in his garage, and the garage had a fire and burned down. Well, what happened is he went to the insurance company and tried to make a claim, and not only would they not cover the supplies and the products inside his garage, but when they found it was a home-based business, they would not even cover the cost of rebuilding the garage itself. So make sure that you talk to an insurance agent or broker to get the type of coverage you need. Vehicles are another issue if you use your vehicle for your business or if other people use their vehicles for your business. Make sure you talk to an insurance agent or broker to find out what kind of coverage you may need there. And there are some other types of insurance there too. So we suggest talking to an insurance broker or an agent. An insurance broker, if you don't know it, is an agent that sells insurance from multiple companies, not just one company. So again, if you don't have an insurance broker, go to our list on our website that I mentioned earlier and look at the names there and call one or two of them and talk about the insurance that you may need for your business. Keep in mind that you don't have to pay anything for the insurance or for talking to them, I should say. They will only charge you once you decide to purchase an insurance policy from them. Now let's talk about business licenses and permits. There are over 950 state-issued regulatory and occupational licenses and permits in the state of North Carolina. And to find out what licenses or permits might be applicable to you, you should contact the phone number that's shown here. Originally, this organization was part of the state government, but they have recently broken off. They used to be called Business Link North Carolina, but you can still Google that name or their new name, which I don't have listed here, but I show the two websites, and you'll go to their website. It's a very good website for starting a business, but they always suggest calling them to get the information you need about licenses and permits. And I've called them myself, and they are very helpful. Also, in addition to state licenses and permits, you probably may need local permits or licenses associated with the county or the municipality that you live in. So go to their websites or call them and find out what your needs are. Next, we're going to talk about management and organization, and as I said earlier, we're just going to cover that very briefly. First of all, when you're starting a business, we suggest that you always establish relationships with these professionals early. Don't wait for a crisis to arise before you contact them. Among those would be lawyers, accountants or CPAs or bookkeepers, an insurance agent or broker, a banker, and of course you know us if you're getting mentoring from us, your SCORE counselor. So it's very important to establish these relationships early. And again, you can go to our website and get the list that I mentioned earlier and see all of those professionals. Now, one other thing, particularly if you have more than one owner of your business, you should have an operating agreement. That is a formal agreement that structures the business's financial and functional decisions. It's essential. It acts as an official contract, binding the owners to its terms. So it's official, it's legal. The typical contents would include things like the owner's responsibilities and how decisions are made, particularly major ones, about contributions to the partnership, like who is contributing what to the business. For example, if you put up 80% of the funds for the business and your partner only puts up 20% of the funds, then this document would specify how you split the profits and losses of the business, because you may not want to split them 50-50 because you put up most of the money. This document would also include things like voting rights and responsibilities, and also things important like withdrawal, disability, or death of a partner, how to admit new partners, etc. And also dispute resolution without going to court. So again, very important if you have more than one owner of the business. So that ends part 2 of our webinar. Please join us again for part 3. Thank you.